Tribal Chiefs, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Brandon Jones McGeer, the Commissioner for Burns and head of delegation for the Office of the Commissioner for Burns. I myself, part Native American and burned and also disabled, I use that experience of my life to create a positive administration which helps others with burns and disabilities and all people of the world. The Office of the Commissioner for Burns, NIGO, otherwise known as the OCB administration, strives to make a better tomorrow for the global community. In order to work towards achieving that goal, the OCB administration promotes international peace and human rights. This is just some of the areas of our focus: accessible health and human services, prevention of violence, eradication of all forms of discrimination, and ensuring positive access to education for all people of the world. While the national education system of today is experiencing its own trying times, nations abroad face much worse conditions in their efforts to educate their people, in particular the environment of the Middle East, and that areas alike have presented great challenges to their education systems across their communities. Refugee camps and war zones pose a great threat to the goal of providing full access of education to all people. When in war, other needs must be met first, such as food, shelter, military personnel, etc. Education becomes secondary, and instead of being an integral necessity, it takes a back seat to other needs. As a result, children and students of all ages stop going to school, or the school simply closes their doors and students are left with no means to learn. In conflict areas, children view going to school as a risk to their safety. Until basic needs are provided, children in refugee camps and war zones cannot think about learning or attending school when their sole focus is simply surviving. International human rights instruments must be strengthened across the board with a strong gearing towards indigenous communities around the world. Our educational centers are closing, yet they are building prisons and our children are still dying. Our medical services are advancing, yet our citizens are still dying from the overall lack of healthcare services. And indigenous communities are becoming extinct, but the development of new cars and cell phones have taken precedence over our way of life. We must do more before it's really too late and we end up without a seat when the music stops. The Office of the Commissioner for Burns and the U.S. Burn Support Organization believes in order to reach our goal, a more peaceful world, education must be an integral part of the process. Education, especially when involving children living in war zones and refugee camps, must be protected, and as members of the international community, we need to provide a safe haven for children to learn. Education is not only crucial for a child's personal development, but crucial in the goal of attaining world peace in the future settings. The OCB administration and the U.S. Burn Support Organization will collaborate with governments, NGOs, and other civil society organizations to protect the rights of all children around the world and ensure that all basic human rights are entrusted, protected, and guaranteed. We must ensure our cultural rights while gaining a peaceful world. I thank you dearly.